This show is brought to you by Booking.com. Since 2010, they've helped over 1.8 billion vacation rental guests find places to stay. That's billion with a B. Head over to Booking.com and start your listing today. Get seen, get booked on Booking.com.
Well. If it isn't the flu-ridden, ailing sister of mine who's looking surprisingly well and healed.
Okay. Let me tell everyone the journey I have been on. Kagan and I, we recently moved. We just moved over the weekend, and I was unpacking boxes, and I hadn't slept well the night before. And the night before, let's just say I was overserved at a party. The type of overserved where you're ordering Burger King at 1 a.m. And people might say, Burger King, wow, even at 1 a.m. drunk, I wouldn't have that taste level. Well, it was the only thing that would deliver. So I was, I had a little bit of a bender on Friday night. Didn't sleep well that night, obviously, was hungover. And then I had to move our entire apartment hungover. Okay. Everyone feel terrible for me.
Moving hungover is like the dream. That's like everyone recommends to move on the days that you're the most hungover. It's a kind of a hangover cure because you're distracted from the move because you're so hungover, and you're also kind of distracted from your hangover because you're so stressed about your move.
No, that's not actually how it works at all. It's called double hell. It's called you're already in hell because you're sorting through all your junk and you're having to move every piece of crap you ever bought. You're having to put it in boxes, sort just that hell, but then add to it, you're a little nauseous, you barely slept, you feel like total garbage. That was the hellscape I was in on Saturday. So we stayed in our new place on Saturday night, and then Sunday I awoke and I'm unpacking boxes in the house, and I am like having to take a rest in between each box. And I'm like, damn, like I am really not doing well. I really need to get better sleep. And long story short, by 1 o'clock in the afternoon, I texted Kagan and I said, I think I'm getting sick. And he texted me because, conveniently for him, he had a 2-day safety training, like water safety training that he's doing here. And so he couldn't help out with the move. Yeah, those words just came out of my mouth, everyone. My husband couldn't help with the move.
Hang on. Water safety training that only could happen those 2 days?
I know, honestly, it sounds like a tall tale, but yes, he had this like advanced water training thing that he and his surfer friends were doing. And it was held over these 2 days and it was booked long ago. So it was me and the movers for 2 straight days, moving our apartment into our house. And long story short, he texted me back though, because it was on the beach. It's like a CPR recovering this big training they did. And he said to me, I'm actually coming home right now. I am getting sick too. So we both got some crazy 24-hour flu, the type of flu where you're not even like on your phone trying to make time go by. You're truly like just shivering and feeling horrible, like on the bathroom floor. So I was panicked because we have a new episode due. I text you, and you guys, I did not expect this to happen, but somehow you swindled our celebrity sister into an exclusive interview.
I mean, let's just say somebody's got to keep the train on the tracks. When, someone decides they don't want to do their job on Monday morning, they want to have the flu. No, I asked Courtney if she could come on, and she was nice enough to say yes. She actually didn't even need much convincing. I mean, I told her that we could talk about whatever she wanted to talk about. And yeah, she was like, okay, I can do it. And she actually has quite a busy day today, and we recorded earlier. So I don't know. Very glad that she came on, feeling very lucky and thankful for, our celebrity sister.
Wait, no, it's so nice of her. And she could be a little bit of a hard interview to schedule. On some level, I feel like a different New York celebrity would be easier. So it felt like a miracle. But lo and behold, it ended up only being a 24-hour thing because I'm feeling fine today. Thank goodness. And I didn't want the episode to go by without digging into some topics at hand because a lot has gone on. And I know your guys' interview, it's more lifestyle-y, it's more kind of getting into the world of Courtney Grow, which we all love. But we got to get into a few other worlds, I think, before we dive into the Q&A with Courtney.
We absolutely have to discuss a few things. I will say that Courtney and I discuss the current Roe controversy, the controversy with the Roe, I guess I should say, and the Substack article that came out. We just sort of briefly touch on it. She gives her unfiltered thoughts. I want to talk to you in depth about it on our Global Elites episode in a couple of days once you've had more time to like sit with it and come up with your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we cover a lot of ground with Courtney, but it's mostly lifestyle. Speaking of lifestyle, you've had
Yeah.
some lifestyle changes, so you're moved. I mean, can you say a little bit more?
There have indeed been some changes in the Atkinson world. So, long story short, Kagan and I, when we first moved to Puerto Rico, we moved into this space I absolutely loved. It was this like loft style apartment, but we needed to buy a home here. And so we bought this apartment that was on the beach, and Kagan loved it. But I personally felt like it was really cramped. I was dying for outdoor space. And as we are going to start a family this coming year, I was really wanting like a family home, somewhere that I felt like really was a reflection of us and was a space where we could have some outdoor space with privacy and hopefully a pool, and just kind of a place that I felt like, okay, I'm putting down roots and I just really love it here. And so, long story short, there's very limited inventory here in Puerto Rico, especially in certain areas. And so we've kind of been monitoring what's come available the past couple years. And we found this house in May, and I really, really, really wanted it. But the sellers, basically, they had a price in mind, and it was not the price we wanted to pay. And so, long story short, this whole process started in May, and we finally closed on it. Negotiations ended a week ago on Sunday, and we moved in over the weekend. So we're just like so thrilled, so happy, feeling super blessed. And I am now entering my home reno era, Chandler. So I hope you're ready for
Oh,
that.
great.
Yeah. So I'm basically going to be working on a lot of house projects over the next year, but I'm excited. It's a new chapter for us. So let me know if you want some house renovation content on good old Instagram. Let me know if you don't want that, but it's going to be, I would say, a lot of work.
So it's actually really cute because we were all together last Sunday. We were celebrating Kagan's birthday, and we were all together when you got the news that you got the house. And so I feel like, I mean, I've been on this journey with you because we talk about everything, but it was really fun to like be there in that moment when you guys found out. So anyway, congratulations. We want
Thank
all of
you.
the renovation content. I mean, I love watching all of that stuff. I love seeing the before and afters and what people decide to go with. So, I mean, I'll just go ahead and speak for everybody and say we want it all.
Okay, well, I'm definitely going to be bringing everyone along then on the journey, on my HGTV journey.
I mean,
What?
you're a journey girl, your Dyson journey,
Yeah.
your house journey, just, it's amazing what these situations you find yourself in and how you take everyone along.
I do what I can. Okay, well, anyway, so that out of the way, though, bigger fish to fry on this episode. We have other topics we need to get into. So let's just start off right off the bat with Chandler. The news that Deborah Lee Furness is shopping a bombshell tell-all about her divorce from Hugh Jackman.
When I read this headline, I felt a little bit taller, a little bit prouder. I mean, I just feel like this is a win for women. And I hope she
Mm-hmm.
gets the fattest check possible, as she should. That's kind of my knee-jerk reaction is shop that tell-all, baby. I mean, you not only do you dedicate your life to this marriage and you basically give up your career, so that your husband can have a career, you are absolutely owed a incredible book deal at the end of it all.
So I completely agree. She was, I guess, seen meeting with top publishers in New York and shopping a quote, bold, emotional memoir about love, identity, and starting over. She was all smiles, but it looked serious, a publishing insider told Page Six. The source continues, she's reclaiming her voice. She spent years being known as Hugh's wife. Now she wants to be known for her truth. If we can all remember, she did break her silence. on the quote traumatic journey of betrayal she feels she's been through in a lengthy statement in May. She called the split a profound wound that cuts deep. She also wrote, I believe in a higher power and that God slash the universe, whatever you relate to as your guidance, is always working for us. So, this is what I love about this personally. I feel like as Hugh and Sutton make their red carpet debut and try to just, you know, like be completely publicly accepted in society as a couple, I love that Deborah Lee Furness says, hey, why doesn't everyone hear what actually went down and what I went through? Let's get the full tea on what happened and maybe let's pick sides.
I mean, could not agree more. I'm picking sides. I've been known to pick a side or two when it comes to adultery. Not to, sorry, excuse me. I've been known to pick the side of truth and righteousness and justice. And, I just think they should not expect Deborah Lee Furness or DLF, I should say,
DLF.
DLF to just quietly go away.
Yeah.
She has every right to shout from the rooftops about her lived experience and the way she was betrayed. Yeah, I don't think this should be necessarily a pleasant chapter for Hugh and Sutton.
I don't think she needs to keep what he did in any way a secret and keep her life story a secret in order to, absolve him of any shame. And I think that this is like important. I think it's important for women to feel emboldened to tell their stories, important for women and men when they've been betrayed. And so I absolutely love this. And I love seeing this. I mean, it's very Lily Allen coded. I feel like we're in a new era of transparency where people are not hiding, men's shame and their misdeeds.
We're not keeping adulterers' secrets.
No, we're
Men
absolutely
or
not.
women, we can keep gender out of it, but we're not keeping the secrets anymore. Because frankly, some of these people need to have a little bit more shame, which brings me to the Esquire article with David Harbour. Can I talk about it
Okay.
for a second?
Please, please.
So I think this is all really interesting because obviously we talked about the Lily Allen album. It's having a moment. It's doing great. We're so proud of her. We love it. Stranger Things debuts, I'm pretty sure this week or the next, or like it's about to literally premiere its final season. And so like Stranger Things is also having a press moment. So Esquire had a profile with David Harbour that just got released. Okay. I don't think this was planned in the wake of the Lily Allen album. I'm sure they had no idea. And it just like happens to coincide now. Okay. And I find some of his words in the Esquire art profile to be a little bit of an eye roll. Can I read them to you?
Please.
Okay. To set everyone's expectations, he is not directly asked about the album. Of course, I'm pretty sure that's because this was, probably done months ago or at least before the album came out. But one of the questions he's asked, I think, is just a little bit telling. Okay. So they ask him, now that you're 50, is there anything you change about the last half century? And this is what David has to say. He says, that's such a hard question, the question of regret or something. I would change either everything or nothing. You either accept your path completely and realize that even the pain and the slip ups and the mistakes are all part of the journey. Journey, hashtag my adulterer journey. And that there's truth and growth, wisdom and deeper empathy and connection and all that. It's kind of like a house of cards. The minute you try to change one thing, you kind of have to change it all. He goes on. So everyone just take a breath. Here we go. As an artist, it's about incorporating your life into something that you can give to other people so that they can have a cathartic response to their lives. If you've never been through anything, what do you really have to offer? If I were to change anything, I'd change everything and just make my life happy and silly and like whatever. And then I wouldn't be an artist anymore. And that would suck. Oh.
These people are really buying their own bullshit. I mean, it's kind of giving, an artist say like it's all copy, or sorry, writers say it's all copy.
I believe, was that Nora Ephron? I think you said that. I
I don't
believe.
know. I feel like I really don't like that mentality of like, I can just kind of screw around with other people's experiences. I can, do whatever I want. And it actually just adds to the richness of my artistic output.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not trying to throw Nora Ephron under the David Harbour bus right now. Okay, I'm not trying to do that. I think there's a different interpretation of that statement that maybe doesn't have to do with cheating on, your wife and breaking up your family. But I completely agree with you though when it comes to his interpretation of this idea of if you don't, have the slip ups, then what do you really have to offer the world? I can't be an actor if I'm not fucking around on my family because how can I then give you an emotional response? What? What type of mental gymnastics gobbledygook is this man spewing?
No, it strains credulity, honestly.
The other thing I wanna say, I think what's pretty crazy about this is you think that he would maybe have a shred of awareness about, maybe the particular skids his life has hit, in the last 2 years or so, and he could have also said something like he could have just actually owned that he's made some mistakes. But I feel like there was just a sidestepping of any ownership that feels quite stunning in my opinion, as like, just given the moment in time he's in. We're
No,
not talking 10
absolutely.
years from now, 20 years from now.
Absolutely. And he's not just embroiled in this scandal with Lily Allen. So, Millie Bobby Brown, she apparently underwent what she considers to be serious harassment from him on set.
Guys, I've been screaming from the rooftops about the new Clean Simple Eats clear protein sodas, okay? The cherry lime flavor tastes like a Shirley Temple. It is so, so good. I love the carbonation and also the frosted lemonade. That's my other favorite. They've come out with these new flavors that have truly blown my mind, and they're back in stock. Everybody needs to be ordering.
No, it's absolutely incredible, Chandler, what they've done with their clear protein drinks. So they have 90 calories and they're 20 grams of clean grass fed protein. I'm obsessed. They're so easy to just grab and go. You don't mess up your kitchen. You don't dirty a blender. You can just take one on the way out the door and boost your protein for the day. I recommend starting out with the variety pack so you can see what flavors you love. I love just their traditional clear protein drinks, but the sodas are also delicious. Clean Simple Eats is truly revolutionizing how easy it can be to hit your protein goals. Everyone, go to cleansimpleeats.com. Use code POPApologist10 for 10% off your order. They also have the best protein powders on the market. They're simply vanilla or their chocolate brownie batter. You blend it with a little ice and water. They taste like Wendy's Frosties. Incredible products. Cleansimpleeats.com. Use code POPApologist10 for 10% off your order.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. The sun setting this early is truly such a hard adjustment for me. Every year around this time, my motivation clocks out before I do. And that's usually when I realize I've gone days or weeks without doing the normal things I need to do for my mental health. Talking to friends, working out, making time for my hobbies. So this month, I've been making an effort to check in on what matters most. Coffee with friends, lunch with my sisters, extra calls with my parents. And every time I do, I end up thinking, why didn't I just do this sooner? Therapy kind of works the same way. Reaching out for help can feel intimidating, but once you do, it's a total game changer. BetterHelp makes it simple to connect with a licensed therapist online, so you can get support from wherever you are, whenever you need it. Through BetterHelp, over 5 million people have connected with more than 30,000 licensed therapists, and it shows, with a 4.9 out of 5 rating across 1.7 million sessions. So this month, don't wait to reach out. Whether you're checking in on a friend or reaching out to a therapist yourself, BetterHelp makes it easier to take that first step. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/popapologists. That's betterhelp.com/popapologists.
So, Millie Bobby Brown, she apparently underwent what she considers to be serious harassment from him on set. And the Daily Mail just broke this story that not only was he essentially fucking around in his personal life, but he was really traumatizing another woman in his professional sphere.
Yeah, so she filed a harassment and bullying claim before they even started shooting this final season that's set to come out right now. The article says that there are pages and pages of accusations. She makes it very clear that it was bullying and harassment. It was not sexual in nature, which I think is like an important distinction. Not because, like, I'm trying to say it's better or anything, but I think everyone assumes when it's harassment, between a male and a female that it's sexual in nature. And I think this just is so insane because he plays like her dad, like a loving this people are going to get so mad at me because I haven't never watched Stranger Things, but he plays like her dad in the show. He's a really loving, lovable character. And so I think the fact that like she had to have a representative with her on set.
Yeah, she insisted on a representative on set to be with her at all times. because of his harassment.
Which is very, Baldoni, Blake Lively coded. And if the other main co-star in the show is needing to take this type of, like, action against you, what are you doing to people who are smaller? Like, the other people who are just working the show who are not A-list stars. I mean, she's a huge part of that show. So the fact that she's doing this, I think it's a massively big deal. So the other crazy thing is that Netflix hasn't denied any of this, which I think is pretty damning.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane because you would think that Netflix would want to protect the other main star of Stranger Things, which is David Harbour. And so if this wasn't going on, they would deny it. But they just haven't commented, and they've said they won't comment on internal investigations. And there is an internal investigation going on. So, wow. I mean, it's unfortunate. I feel like that there's so much kind of like men behaving badly news. Like, I really want some like fun celebrity gossip. Like, can we get Prince William
Yeah,
slipping on a banana peel? Like, can we get something fun to talk
I
about?
know. Especially because this next story is just, the worst of the worst.
But we have to get into it. Okay, so
We have to.
everyone, let's talk about the actually, I won't say it anymore. There is no Prince Andrew anymore. It is Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. He has been formally stripped of all of his titles. Now, what's so crazy about this, Chandler, is 2 weeks ago, the palace said that he had agreed not to use them, but he would not be stripped of his titles. I don't really understand what that means, but 2 weeks ago, the palace basically said that he would no longer use them. Okay?
So just kind of like an unspoken thing.
I don't know if it means that he won't order stationery that says the Duke of York anymore. I'm not sure how it works with the aristocracy there, but they said that he would no longer use his titles, but he wouldn't be formally stripped of them.
I mean,
Well,
updating all your monogramming in your household is a big deal.
that's true. Maybe that's what it was. It was like he'll redo the towels in his
New
house.
towels, new robe,
Hmm.
new
Yeah,
slippers.
exactly. No, so that was where the palace was at 2 weeks ago. And it essentially took, I would say, the people storming the gates of the palace, figuratively, or everyone being enraged about it online, for King Charles and the monarchy to take a hard line against Andrew, because now he has formally stripped Andrew of all titles. He will no longer be a prince. And he has to move out of Royal Lodge, where he's lived for the past 20 years. And so they issued this statement basically saying that. And then at the end of it, they say, our thoughts are essentially with the victims. So I just want to walk everyone through a quick little timeline. Okay. I want to walk everyone through a quick little timeline. And I want you to ask yourself how much the palace gives a shit about the victims. So in summer 2006, Jeffrey Epstein, and apparently her name is Ghislaine Maxwell. How do you pronounce it? Someone chastised us appropriately, so we probably should get names, pronounced correctly.
I've heard Ghislaine,
I've heard Ghislaine too.
and the person correcting us said it's pronounced Ghislaine. So Ghislaine is what we should be saying, like Gee, and then second word lane, Ghislaine.
I know it's going to be wrong, and it's just going to be so funny. It's like when we couldn't pronounce Nicola Peltz's name correctly, we called her Nicola.
Nicola, like Ricola, like the cough drops. I mean, I feel like I've said Ghislaine, Ghislaine, Ghislaine.
Ghislaine is my favorite, okay? And I would like to stick with Ghislaine because I think there's something, appropriate there. But I'll just call her Ghislaine.
Yeah, okay. I'm now looking at an AI pronunciation. The pronunciation of Ghislaine varies, but the most common English version is Ghislaine, hard G with lane rhyming with rain, and a more traditionally French pronunciation is Ghislaine with a soft G like S in pleasure and Len rhyming with again. Ghislaine? What? I'm more confused than ever. Either Ghislaine or Ghislaine.
I mean, there's like a big difference between Ghislaine and Ghislaine. Okay. Two
I'm
totally
so
different
confused.
people.
And you know what? Neither of them were what we were doing before.
No, we have been very far off the mark. Okay. Well, I think Ghislaine is too pretty of a pronunciation.
It's not Ghislaine. It's Ghislaine.
Ghislaine. Okay, let's call her Ghislaine because
Ghislaine. We're just American girls with American accents who only speak English, American English.
Exactly. Okay, so basically in summer 2006, Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine,
No,
Ghislaine,
wrong. Ghislaine.
Ghislaine. Okay.
Gee, second word Lane. That's Ghislaine.
Okay, summer 2006, Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell were invited by by Andrew Mountbatten, excuse me, to Princess Beatrice's birthday party. Even though he was being investigated for sex crimes at the time, he was arrested 8 days after the party. He was convicted in 2008, okay? So in winter 2010, following Jeffrey Epstein's release, Andrew visits Jeffrey Epstein, who is now a convicted sex offender in New York, and is photographed with him in Central Park. Okay?
Yep.
These people are not only pedophiles and rapists, they're also fucking idiots. Why are we chatting in Central Park? Anyway, March 2011, Sarah Ferguson admits to accepting money from Jeffrey Epstein to pay off her debts. She publicly disavows him, but it's since emerged in a leaked email that she wrote to him to apologize, beg for forgiveness, and pledge her friendship.
These people are such rats.
Oh, Chanler, they are such vile vultures. Okay, in July 2011, Andrew was forced to resign from his post as UK trade envoy for his association with Jeffrey Epstein, but also for his inappropriate use of public funds and allegations of accepting bribes. Yeah, allegations of accepting bribes. That's what the prince was up to in 2011. Also, he's walking around in Central Park with a convicted sex offender. He invited the sex offender to his daughter's birthday party while he was under investigation, okay? So then in 2011, the infamous photo of Andrew with his arm around Virginia Giuffre, then underage, and Ghislaine Maxwell hovering in the background is published in the UK papers, corroborating her claims that she was trafficked him. This was 2011, 14 years ago, okay? April 2015, 4 years later, Andrew is named in another Jeffrey Epstein court case as he's accused of participating in sex trafficking with Jeffrey Epstein, which
Can
the
I say
palace
something?
denies. Please.
If we didn't have that photo, I just really find it hard to believe that people would have believed her as much as they do now. Like, thank
Yeah.
God we have that photo. And I realize that sounds so dark and sad. I just think that that photo is so damning, and like these people get away with so much,
Mm-hmm.
and got away with so much.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I guess in a twisted way, I'm so glad we have that photo, because it's just like, try to run from this, try to, disprove this, try to weasel your way out of this.
But the crazy part about it, Chanler, is that it came out 14 years ago.
Right.
So he's basically been publicly cavorting with a sex offender. There's photos of him. There's a photo of him with an underage girl. But the palace is just like, oh, we're just going to do exactly nothing about this. So fast forward to summer 2019, Jeffrey Epstein is arrested, and multiple victims come forward to confirm that they have direct knowledge of Andrew's involvement in the sex trafficking ring that Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine were running. Okay, that fall, following Jeffrey Epstein's death, Andrew has the disastrous interview with Emily Matlis on Newsnight, precipitating his exit from public life, where he just came across like such an idiot and liar and a buffoon. Remember how he says that Virginia's account said he was really sweaty, and he was like, oh, I have a condition where I don't sweat much?
I mean, the guy is not dealing with a full deck.
No. So then in 2021, Virginia Giuffre sues Andrew for sexual assault. In 2022, he settles out of court for an undisclosed sum that is estimated to be around $10 million, and releases a statement in which he, quote, accepts that she has suffered both as an established victim of abuse and as a result of unfair public attacks. Because, of course, vile people online go after people who claim to have suffered sexual assault, okay? There's just no doubt about that, especially people who go after public figures with their stories. Oh, and also let's just ground ourselves in the fact that while he's, accepting that she suffered as a victim of abuse, he also, remember, he sent those internal emails to see if his security could do some investigation into her background, okay?
To dig some stuff up.
Yeah, on her. Okay, so now it has taken essentially through 2024 and 2025, it has taken the Epstein files becoming an obsession during the American election and people continuing to demand the release of the documents that has kept this story alive. And finally, Virginia Giuffre's posthumous memoir coming out after she took her own life, where she details having sex with him, also being in an orgy with him and Epstein and a bunch of underage girls from other countries. And then, okay, there's an email from Andrew to Epstein where he like kind of is apologizing for everything he's going through, and he says, "Don't worry, we'll play again soon." So that's everything that has gone down. And I just think that the fact that now King Charles has like grown a conscience, like, I'm sorry, fuck this family. They've known exactly who Andrew was this entire time. And guess what? It was only when it threatened their power that they decided to take any action. All this has to do with is them being in self-preservation mode. I don't actually think they care about the victims at all. They just care
No,
about keeping the crown, keeping their power, keeping their wealth. They don't want another revolution. And so once this scandal has heated up to a point where it's boiling over and it could scald them, then all of a sudden their thoughts are with the victims. Please.
it's insulting for them to even utter those words because their priority has always been protecting themselves. And we see this now with the payout to him. So he will
Mm-hmm.
receive, a six-figure one-time payout, and then he will receive basically a salary from the crown to just sort of keep him happy, keep him plodding along. And he just gets to now go basically retire in obscurity.
Right.
He should not just get a cushy, you know, ride off into the sunset. He should have to rebuild his life and get a job and figure out how to pay and like atone for his crimes.
Well, he should be in prison. And if for some reason there's a statute of limitations and for some reason they can't figure it out to throw his ass in prison for the rest of his life, he should have to do what they, I guess, consider to be, a punishment too difficult for someone who is born as a royal, which is to do what every other fucking human being has to do on earth, which is get a job. Get a job and pay your own bills. I mean, what a
Mhm.
thought. How is that so beyond belief for them? I'll tell you what I think is going on.
Well, I'll just say, like, the only reason
Please.
why he's getting this payment is because they don't want him to reveal any more of their secrets. Like, this is a way to keep,
Exactly.
once again, this is a way to continue to cover their own asses.
Yeah, it's a way for them to cover their own tracks because guaranteed, if they were just to throw him out on the streets, he would sell some sort of memoir or he would do some sort of book about the misdeeds of Charles and William. I guarantee it. There's just no way he wouldn't. And so the fact that they're essentially just moving him to another beautiful home that probably everyone would, like, so many people would just die to live in. Like, I don't mean that literally, figuratively. I'm sure wherever he's moving in Sandringham is going to be absolutely lovely. This is no penance, in my opinion. And I think that that is the only reasonable explanation is like they basically are walking this tightrope where they have to do enough so that the public feels like they're taking it seriously, you know,
Mhm.
but they have to not do so much that Andrew is no longer in their control. And that's what
Yes.
this six-figure payout means. And that's what this annual stipend means.
Yep.
And I just think that people need to understand the writing on the wall with this family. And like, I think we would be naive at best to not think that the women in that family don't know exactly what's going on as well. Like, I just find it very hard to believe that Kate and Camilla, that they just have no idea about all the dark family secrets.
No,
And
they signed their deal with the devil too.
exactly. And it just, it gives me a little bit of, not a little bit, it gives me a lot of respect for Mary. It gives me a lot of
Mary and
respect.
Hagen. You always, it's my favorite thing when you somebody also commented and said that you always say one other thing
I
too.
always say that I always say the flip switched. The flip switched. Oh my gosh.
It's cute. It's very charming.
It gives me a lot of respect for Mary and Hagen. You're right, Chandler. No, for Harry and Meghan, because you know what? They got the F out of there. And, let's just maybe give Meghan Markle, you know what? I'll call her it, the Duchess of Sussex. Why don't we give her her credit, because there might be other reasons she left the monarchy other than the fact that the British media was bullying her to within an inch of her life. Like maybe she looked around and was like, I don't want to be around these in-laws.
I am not keeping your secrets. I'm not going to sign a deal with the devil. You could say, maybe a flip switched within her.
Exactly. Chandler, thank you for that. So
Had to.
I hope none of us are satisfied by this resolution, and I hope we at least all see exactly what's going on here.
Speaking of Marian Hagan, do you want to talk
Yeah.
about the little video she posted? Do you want to touch on that for a few moments before we sign off?
So we recently moved into this new house, and Kagan walked up to me the first night we're there, and he goes, "Where are the gummies?" All of our stuff is in boxes, but you better believe that in the special box of items I knew we would need for the first night was a bottle of early bird gummies.
I cannot even tell you how much I have needed these in the last month. I had debilitating period cramps, okay? And taking an early bird gummy helped me so much. They're basically a part of my weekend routine now, and I just swear by early bird so much.
These are a multi-use product. You can use them if you just want to enjoy a meal a little more, relax into watching a show a bit more, or have the best night's sleep of your life. There are 30 gummies per bottle. I always use basically a half at a time, so a bottle will last a couple months at least. You guys, earlybirdcbd.com, use code POPAPOLOGIST for 20% off your order. We swear by Early Bird CBD, and you will absolutely thank us.
This episode of Pop Apologists is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.com is such a popular app amongst my traveler friends, and honestly, if you have a vacation rental, this is the site for you. Since 2010, Booking.com has helped over 1.8 billion vacation rental guests find places to stay. And let me just emphasize that I said billion with a B. But here's the thing. Most vacation rental hosts don't even realize they can list their properties on Booking.com. And if you're not on the platform, your rental is basically invisible to millions of Booking.com travelers worldwide. After all, they can't book what they can't see, right? Your rental property will be viewed by a massive global audience of unique travelers. Whether your rental is ideal for the solo traveler, big families, or just some friends getting together. You can register your property in as little as 15 minutes, and nearly half of hosts get their first booking within a week. So, if your vacation rental isn't listed on Booking.com, it could be invisible to millions of travelers searching the platform. Don't miss out on consistent bookings and global reach. Head over to Booking.com and start your listing today. Get seen, get booked on Booking.com.
Well, okay, I want to talk about this Page Six article that came out, and it says Prince Harry isn't loving Meghan Markle's recent posts of him and their kids. Okay, and so this is what an insider told Page Six. This is the quotes. He's very aware of her parading him around. He doesn't love the social media displays. This is after Meghan posted like them at a pumpkin patch. She posted her friends cooling with excitement after I don't know. I think the Dodgers were playing. Was it the World Series?
Yes, Lauren, welcome back to Earth. The Dodgers won the World Series.
Okay. Sorry. I think the whole like girl joke of being like, what sports is a little overplayed. That's not what I'm trying to do here. But Meghan was very excited when the Dodgers won and she was jumping up and down. She posted a video of that. And so there's this article that comes the next day where it says, this is another quote. The person says, the shine is worn off, which is fair at this point in a relationship, but he's also blown up his life for her. Plus, he's used to being universally loved. And the source said, now it's the exact opposite, actively booed. My personal feeling on this is a bullshit planted story, probably from the palace. And I don't think that Harry cares at all about her posting little snippets of their life. What do you think?
I mean, I just don't think Harry would ever fault her for just posting very normal things online when it's kind of her career now.
Well, also, like Kate and William, they absolutely post like cute kid lifestyle content. They'll post some sort of like Christmas video or some sort of video, and you'll see kids running through the trees or whatever. And I just don't think that any of it has been gratuitous or over the top in any way, or like overly exhibitionist in any way.
I mean,
So
she covers up their faces. I mean, we don't know
yeah,
what
you
their kids
cannot
look
see their
like at all.
faces. No. So, and the other thing I will say is that, you know, I have a personal source who saw them at the San Vicente bungalows and said they were all over each other, and he was particularly all over her. Whether you think, Meghan is the next Martha Stewart, or you cringe a little at some of her content, Chanler and I think fall a little bit more in the latter. We're not super, I think, sold on her being like a domestic expert. I will say, I don't doubt their love, and I think he's obsessed with her, and I get why. Like, she's amazing. She's amazing in a lot of ways. So I call BS on this.
I also think the comment, the shine has worn off is so annoying.
You know what? I actually bet they're more deeply in love. They have 2 children together. They literally escaped the monarchy. They built a whole new life together. I bet you he loves her more now than he did the day they got married. Okay, another piece of news. Vanderpump Rules is back with a whole new cast. So 10 new servers, SURVERS, everyone, all caps, SUR. Got what we did there. Will be hitting our screens. And this is premiering, I believe it's December 2nd, alongside Lisa Vanderpump for a refreshed reboot of Vanderpump Rules. I watched the trailer. You watched the trailer, Chan. Do you have any thoughts?
I am struggling to care about these people. It does look like a lot of, just WeHo people who have probably watched a lot of reality TV and know what they need to do. I don't know that there are any amazing characters like right out of the gate that I can instantly tell are going to make for like great television. I think the other thing that I'm struggling with, besides just generally not caring about all these people, is the idea that Lisa Vanderpump is going to care about all these new people.
Yeah,
Like it was one thing about the original Sir cast where it was like everybody was on the up and up when that show started, including Lisa herself. But now she just has to like stop in and film for 15 minutes every now and then. And I think that's going to really show through.
well, and I also think that it's funny to say, oh, the focus of Vanderpump Rules is the restaurants. It was never the restaurants. The focus of Vanderpump Rules was not about, fine dining at Sir or Villa Blanca. Those are backdrops that were as unimportant as any other backdrop. It was all about the character development and plot lines and storylines going on in very real people's lives. And I read this comment, and it says, they just need to accept that the original VPR cast was lightning in a bottle for the first 6 seasons or so and cannot be replicated. And I think that's true. I think that essentially, like, them trying to recreate this, I think it's going to fail. I hope it doesn't. But watching this trailer, it just seems like it's going to be fabricated reality garbage.
I mean, there's something sacrilegious about seeing two people I've, never seen before, don't care about, arguing in the back of the Sir Alley.
Yeah, it feels like cosplaying.
Yes.
Like, I would rather they say, we found this incredible, insane group of friends who I don't live in Idaho somewhere, and you guys will not believe the drama in this one sorority or whatever. Like, just find a whole new setting.
You know what's funny? I think about like Love Thy Nader, where it's like we found these like fun sisters that have a really interesting life living in New York, and we're gonna set up cameras. There's something so good. I mean, it doesn't always work, but I feel like it worked for Love Thy Nader about what you're saying, that strategy, versus let's find a bunch of people who want to be actors and make them be on a reality TV show together.
No, I mean, it's the exact same thing as The Bachelor. It's the reason why The Bachelor is not fun anymore at all. It's because it's basically like a rinse and repeat of the exact same thing. And when you do that, you water down the quality because people are not actually sharing like their lives. They're not there for love. Everyone's just trying to be an influencer. Like, that's the entire purpose of these shows now for the cast. Right. I'm going to find it very hard to believe if they found this incredible organic group of friends that's going to have all of this scintillating drama. I will try to give it a chance, though. I absolutely will. But most likely, I think this is going to be just like the Roni reboot.
Yeah, I mean, the Roni reboot had some good moments, but I don't know. I just struggle to care about people who work serving jobs like in WeHo. Like
Yeah.
as far as reality TV shows go, because it just isn't what it used to be. I'm going to start to repeat everything you've just said, but it's like everyone just wants to be on the influencer watch what happens live pipeline.
Well, and also when they started Vanderpump Rules, there was no Instagram. So there wasn't even a concept of like, okay, I just have to stay on for so many seasons and then I'll get enough followers to where I can monetize and at least I won't have to work a 9 to 5 job again.
No.
They weren't even thinking about that. In fact, a lot of them were thinking like, hey, I want to be an actor and this could hurt my
Mhm.
career, but it's the best opportunity I have. So
Exactly.
yeah. Anyway, those are my initial thoughts. You guys, I'm so excited that I think that this 24-hour flu was truly a blessing in disguise because I'm so excited for everyone to hear this interview with our celeb sis, the Courtney Grow, who by the way, recently was featured by Moda Operandi. I mean, she has Courtney Grow's Closet as a section of the website right now. It's just very, very, very cool. And I'm so excited about it.
She's soaring. She really is. Everyone, hope you like the interview, and we'll be back on Friday with another Global Elites.
Everybody's heard of Macy's famous Thanksgiving Day parade. I mean, it's practically a tradition to watch it in our household. When I heard Macy's was doing a parade of deals, yes, a daily parade of new 1 day only deals through Thanksgiving, I was like, cancel my plans. I'm going to be busy adding to cart.
So, this parade of deals, it's like a daily dose of excitement. When it comes to holiday shopping for my friends and family, I'm a deal seeker, okay? And Macy's has great deals on Dyson vacuums, Ninja blenders, and the classic large UGG fluff throw blankets. They're the most beautiful blankets you've ever seen.
And it doesn't stop there. 30 to 40% off fragrances from brands like Marc Jacobs and Gucci. 30% off Sunday Riley Skincare. Diamond tennis bracelets deeply discounted. And cashmere sweaters under $50. So if you're like me and love that, oh, what's today's deal moment? Make checking the Macy's app your new morning ritual.
The Parade of Deals runs November 2nd through November 27th, so get in there before the good stuff's gone. Shop now at Macy's.com or in store.
Well, well, well. We're going to be joined today not by a familiar voice, but by another Bledsoe voice. I guess I should say a Grow voice. Courtney Grow has decided to join us on the podcast.
Filling in for a little flu-ridden sis out in Puerto Rico, probably laying next to her pool in the sun, while we push through gale force winds in the city. Yeah, no, it's okay. I'll do her job. Don't worry.
I guess, like, if you get the flu, you just, you got to call in the bigger guns, your older sister,
I just want a picture. Send me a picture of her looking like she's been dragged through the road with the flu.
I mean, if the temperature there is 75 degrees or above, I'm going to be annoyed that she has the flu and that she has to deal with it
She's gotta lay in
in that
bed.
type of weather. Yeah. We've done Q&A episodes with you before, and so I think this one is going to follow suit because there's like a wide range of questions that people have when it comes to motherhood. You're obviously the gorgeous mother of 4 stunningly beautiful, amazing children. You've been married for a long time. You have a lot of wisdom in the family and home departments, but then you also have
I have a lot of experience. I don't know that I have a lot of wisdom, but a lot of experience.
you do have a lot of experience, and you're also an extremely talented, successful influencer, fashion style person. Let's just get into some rapid fire beauty and fashion questions. Let's start off with Botox. Where are you at with Botox? What's your regimen? I know you're on the Jan Marini train. Where do we fall with the Botox, with the filler, with the lasers?
Everyone is always asking, like, what have you done to your face? What do you do to your face? Like, what do you get injected anywhere? And it makes you feel like a little bit like Frankenstein, kind of when you're getting 35 of those messages a day. And part of the reason why I like don't answer them as prescriptively as some people would enjoy is that I just don't think that that's like great advice to give someone, because I don't think anyone should go to their injector and be like, well, this girl got a filler under her eyes and like that's why I want filler under her eyes. Everyone's anatomical structure is so different that like you just need to find an injector you trust and do what they tell you to do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
treatments I believe in, let's just go down the line. I am the biggest Sculpture fan. Sculpture is
What
a
is it?
collagen stimulant. So it's not filler. It's a collagen stimulant that they mostly use around like they call it the scaffolding of your face. So the places that I've had Sculpture would be like my bottom quadrant of my like jawline. And I think mostly there. Maybe a little bit in the temples too. So like temples down to jaw.
And what do you notice?
So what they claim and what I have noticed, and it's very subtle, is that I think just that area that like as you get older, you experience a little more bone loss and a little bit of hollowing. I feel like that regression of my face has slowed. It helps jowls from developing because your face essentially like is being held back a little bit more firmly. And it's done differently than filler. Filler, I think, absolutely has a place when done well in your face. I've obviously like I've had filler under my eyes. I did a little tiny filler in my nose once, and I guess that's like extremely dangerous. It's hard to find someone who will do that. But what I think filler does that's really, really tricky is filler holds onto water, and so it can make you look puffier,
Mm.
and filler never lifts. In my opinion, and from any good injector I've gone to, there is no real lifting property to filler. Filler can fill in and filler can hydrate. I think a little hydration of the lips with filler is great, but, like, the idea of putting filler in your cheekbone, I don't think you're gonna get much lifting. I think you're going to get puff. And filler is cheaper than Sculptra, and I think it's really tempting to go that route, but I think my advice would be to use your resources to do a biostimulant like Sculptra just to keep things looking more natural. Like, I've definitely had times when I felt like I had filler under my eye, and I was like, "I hate this." Like, I smile, and it felt just like chipmunky under the eyes, and that's, like,
Mm.
one of my nightmare faces. I actually had that dissolved, and now what I do under my eyes is exosomes. So, exosomes, I don't think they're a biostimulant. I should, like, look up exactly what exosomes are. Okay, according to Google, exosomes are tiny cell-derived vesicles that act as intercellular messengers containing proteins, RNA, and DNA, and they can transfer this cargo to other cells. So, I think they just, like, re-regulate your DNA to behave more functionally again. So, like, the cells under your eyes are going to rejuvenate faster like they were when you were younger, kind of all of those good benefits that aren't just kind of this, like, jelly substance under your eyes that can swell if you have eaten a lot of sodium, like, can look weird when you smile. I just have really decided that I don't want my face to be any bigger. I just want my skin quality and skin texture to be as premium as it can be.
Yeah. Okay. What about lasers? What about microneedling?
So I had a last year I did, like, lots of microneedling with PRF or PRP, whatever, like, that blood factor is, and I've heard that that is the gold standard. I really enjoyed those, and it's hard because when you're not in that dermatologist office infrequently. Like I've said, one of my favorite jokes is, like, I've yet to find, like, a primary care physician out here, but I have seen at least 4 med spas. Been to 4 med spas.
As one does, as one does. Let's face it. You're healthy, it's fine. You can find
It's
that
all
the right
good.
primary care doctor when you really need one.
There's always the emergency room, ladies and gentlemen. As my husband
Exactly.
knows, if I think anything is wrong, you think I'm gonna call a doctor and be like, "We'll see you in 3 weeks?" This health anxiety mother of 4 goes straight to the emergency room, and
Yeah,
I have the hospital bill statements to prove it.
exactly. You're not gonna sit on an issue
No.
for more than probably 90 seconds before you're gonna get an appointment. And that's just your style.
Yeah, Wyatt was like, "Why do you need," like, we were discussing different health insurance plans, and he's like, "Why do you need this?" He's like, "You just go straight to the hospital anyway."
Maybe you should consider honestly
I'm like,
moving closer to a
is there
hospital.
emergency room only health insurance plan where you get results within hours?
You have no patience.
I have no patience. It's a flaw.
Okay, moving away from treatments, let's talk about a little bit of a scandal right now, of a controversy, in my opinion. The row is not looking too hot to me right now. We saw the videos from the sample sale. Lauren said it best. The clothes were looking like oversized Ann Taylor. I don't know if people here have seen Neelam's letter. which was all about her experience with the Row and the way they treated her. I actually think Lauren and I are going to talk about it on this week's Global Elites. So we won't get into all of it here. But
But we're going to get into a little bit of it because I want to talk about it.
Courtney, you're a Row devotee.
Okay. Let's back up there. I feel like I'm hesitant to say devotee because there is this tier of influencer that is a Row devotee. And like they almost exclusively post products from the Row. And that is a huge part of their identity. And I know some of them personally. I do buy products from the Row. I feel like their coats are exceptional. I think their sweaters are exceptional. And when they have a really interesting bag that is not one of their like usual, like I don't care about a 90s bag. I do not care about like the gala pants that everybody loves. I think there are some of the core cult basics that are really interesting to a lot of people that mean nothing to me. But when they come out with like a really interesting like woven marigold yellow with green type piece, like those are collector worthy items to me.
So you're really in it for not the basics or the staples from the Row. You're in it for the kind of one of a kind pieces. Like you're not in it for the button ups or the blazers necessarily.
I think this is an interesting part of the story with Neelam is that she was the first person that I reached out to when my jelly started breaking. This might be too niche of a story, but everybody knows the absolute stir that the jellies caused a year ago. Probably what was the summer of 2024. I feel like the jellies were actually a revolutionary new shoe style, much like the mesh flats that the Row came out with. That is why I can't totally go down the train that Lauren wants to about how like the Row is all over Price Stan Taylor, because in my opinion there are moments of absolute genius that they will produce like a new category of footwear. And they really did that first with the mesh flat that now is in every single high street to, Veronica Beer. Like everybody's making a mesh flat now. And the Row did that first. You can't take your eyes off the Row because they will do something first and they will do it better than anyone.
Yeah.
So that takes me to the jelly sandal, the jelly flat, whatever you want to call it. That shoe was the shoe of summer 2024.
Agreed.
Right, that's the year. I mean, I have worked hard to have like a relationship with a sales associate. I was scoping them out in my Teresa. Thankfully, I ended up getting my jellies in store. And within about, I would say, a week of wearing my first pair of jellies, they all started breaking on the inside. And these jellies were just shy of 4 figures. Like it's an embarrassing amount to spend on a piece of plastic shoe that somebody later said looked like the red fish and chips basket. They weren't wrong.
Oh my gosh,
there you go.
so good.
Right? Isn't that so real? That was a great TikTok. So I buy these shoes. I've spent way too much on them, and like all of a sudden I like look down. Or I remember being at dinner and like looking down and like seeing on both of the insides of my shoe it had completely cracked. I basically don't know what to do because I think I had promoted the shoes already on Instagram and was feeling like this pressure to be honest about it. And the first person I turned to was Neelam, who has written this expose kind of about breaking up with the Row that I thought was really brave of her to send. And her response to me was like so measured. Like we were talking like maybe it's my foot, like not that my feet can take any more criticism on the internet, but like maybe it really was just like the shape of my foot. And she was like, I would definitely talk to your sales representative first, blah, blah, blah. I ended up discussing it with everyone in my channel and warning everyone about these shoes. I was the Paul Revere of these jellies are breaking. But yeah, she has been a woman who I think has done a really great job of repping the Row. And there are two sides to the story that I think are worth unpacking. One is that she was not hired by the Row, okay? And it's always a little bit of a complicated situation when someone is doing a favor for you that you didn't ask them to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Before we dive into it, I think it's worth giving a little bit of a synopsis. She just had like several negative experiences with sales associates and with the brand. And everyone should know, if you're not familiar with her, like Her whole feed is really being a huge Row fan and talking about the clothing, spending a lot of her own money on the Row clothing.
The jelly fats, they actually treated me tremendously. I brought all of them back. I got a refund for all of them. They replaced the ones they could. Some of the other pairs did not break, but I was treated really well by the Row.
Okay. Yeah.
But also, like, I wasn't having to deal with, like, My Teresa or another retailer.
Yeah.
But the problem with the Neelam situation, let's pretend I was a brand and somebody was a devotee to me and they were, focused on, like, reviewing everything I did or didn't do. Like, what obligation are they owed by me? Like, I think it is an interesting question. Do I owe them front row access to everything in my life because they are a devotee? Maybe. One thing I will say for sure is you absolutely owe someone your respect.
Yeah.
And you owe them treatment to the level with which you should view your customers anyway. And I think what Neelam exposed was a little bit of a lack of care and devotion to their clients, like, in general. I
Yeah,
don't
and a
think they have to
snobbery.
care that she's an influencer. I don't think that they have to send her an award for influencing people to buy her products. But making your customer feel uncool is a horrible strategy.
Horrible.
And I have had few retailer experiences where I walk in the door and I just feel like a loser. Like, I have a sales associate who basically looks at me like I'm about to shoplift. Like, I think that phase of, walking down Mercer Street into every boutique that's on there and being treated like you're being given, like, having a sales associate give you the side eye
Yeah.
and act annoyed when you ask for a size is really dehumanizing. That's
Yeah.
too strong of a word, but
No,
I think
I
we've
think
all
it's
been there,
true.
and it just makes you feel like a piece of shit.
Especially when you're spending 4 figures at least,
Yes.
when that is the money amount that they charge for the majority of their items.
Totally, and then if you say you're not, like, "No, thanks, like, I don't want this," like, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that, like, 65% of the time, there's just, like, a tone repeated back to you that, like, makes you feel poor and broke and cheap and, like,
Totally.
if you were richer, you would buy this, and I think truly I'd rather shop from the privacy of my own home at this point than walk into any of those boutiques anymore. Like, I truly am a shopper and I spend money, like, in these stores, and I'm not gonna name names, but, like, I gird my loins a little bit before I walk
Mhm.
in because, like, the minute you walked into those stores, you're just like, you are a subject in their court, and if you're lucky enough that they have your size and they'll sell it to you, like, you should be so blessed, and I think that I loved Neelam for calling this out because I don't think anybody wants to be treated like a peon when they walk into, actually, shout out to Prada. I feel like the nicest people I've ever met work at Prada, and
Yeah.
everybody there is always so kind. When I think as far as all of these big different retailers go, they have more cachet than anybody else, and I've found the sales associates there to be, like, the loveliest.
You know how people say blue light is bad for your eyes? Well, apparently it's not doing our skin any favors either, which is just fantastic news for someone like me who stares at a laptop, phone, and TV like it's my full time job, because it kind of is. Avoiding screens isn't realistic in this modern world, but at least now I can do something about it. That's where Marine Glow from Nature Sunshine comes in. It's the only collagen product clinically proven to protect against blue light while supporting both skin and eye health. It's kind of like a daily defense against digital aging. It's made with responsibly sourced marine collagen to help reduce fine lines and improve texture, plus lutein from marigold flowers to keep skin hydrated and protected. Marine Glow is clinically proven to increase hydration by 40% and increase the skin's natural defense against blue light by 200%. Basically, it helps your skin glow, even under fluorescent lighting. I've always been a little skeptical about beauty supplements, but Marine Glow has changed that. This one actually has clinical proof behind it, and it doesn't taste weird. It's super easy to mix into my morning routine, and the tropical flavor is totally refreshing. Protect your eyes and skin against harmful blue light effects with Marine Glow. Get 20% off your first order and free shipping by using checkout code POP at naturesunshine.com. That's code POP at naturesunshine.com.
You know that moment when it's suddenly freezing and you realize your fall wardrobe needs some more basics? Well, I've been there, and this year I'm actually getting ahead of it thanks to Quince. As the air turns crisp and the holidays creep closer, comfort really is the best gift we can give ourselves, and Quince has everything. $50 Mongolian cashmere sweaters made for everyday wear, silk tops and skirts perfect for gifting or upgrading your own wardrobe. I'm going to treat myself this winter, so I grabbed their cashmere lined leather gloves and the cashmere trouser socks. It felt like time to just really upgrade my cold weather essentials from, the cheap stuff that I just always lose. Winter is hard enough, and we all deserve the coziest fits, and Quince makes them so affordable. I cannot wait to feel like a posh New Yorker with my cashmere lined leather gloves. Step into the holiday season with layers made to feel good, look polished, and last from Quince. Perfect for gifting or keeping for yourself. Go to quince.com/apologist for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/apologist to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/apologist. We were shopping a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, and I won't say the name of the store. Actually, don't think I remember it, but you were returning something, and the way that
Yes,
the
I know exactly what you're
attitude
talking about.
was like, this is extreme, but it was kind of like you were gum on the bottom of their shoe that they were annoyed with having to deal with because you were just returning something that was in pristine, brand new condition that you just didn't end up wanting to, have.
I was perfectly within the return window. And the story actually deepens a little bit. This is a store I don't actually typically shop from very often, but I bought a pair of earrings there. I brought them back within the return window. I knew that it was store credit only, which is fine. I agreed to that. So they give me this slip of store credit, and I go to the online store to try to buy something, and I can't quite figure out how to use this slip to make my purchase. And I call the store, and they're just like, "Yeah, we're not affiliated with our online store at all. You can't
Oh
use
my
this credit
gosh.
online." And I was just like, "Okay, that's absolutely insane in the year of our Lord 2025 that I don't even get an online credit to your store." But whatever. So I ask him if he has this like pair of shoes. I am gum on his shoe this whole entire text message exchange. We finally find the pair of shoes that I like. I asked them for a pair of shoes, and he's like, "These are much better looking." I'm like,
Oh my
"Buddy,
gosh.
I don't care what you think about it. These are the shoes that I want." So
Yeah.
we like finally get to the end. I followed up 4 times, and he's like, "I'll have a messenger to you." And then I was like, "Okay, I'm ready. Like, let's go through." And he's just like, "Oh, honey, I can't send these to Brooklyn. We don't
Oh.
messenger to Brooklyn." And I was just like,
He literally said, "Oh, honey."
"Oh, honey, we don't messenger to Brooklyn." I was gum on his shoe. I was riffraff, and I would love to know who the customers are that are treated well in these situations because everyone I know feels like Neelam, and I think especially as an influencer, it's a weird situation to be hated for who you are, and like Neelam said in her article, she has trackable data that she has sent
Yeah.
hundreds of thousands of dollars of sales to them. So, there is no comment section quite as on fire as something on TikTok where people talk about how much they hate influencers and influencers have, like, ruined the world, and you would at least think that a retailer, a person who you are driving revenue to would treat you well, and I think it just that pile on of, like, your influencer trash made that a really fascinating and powerful read.
Yeah, and I think to me, if a brand is not recognizing the power and the brilliance and just the smarts of influencers and the way that they are, brilliant marketing tools, if they're not recognizing the power in them, like, it's so short-sighted and it really permanently grosses me out about the brand. So anyway, we can move on from the row and all of their issues, but I'm not buying that Margot bag I was gonna buy, you know? I had that money ready to go.
What did I tell you about the sample sale?
I said, "Is it worth it?" And you said, "No, I don't think so."
The viral sample sale hauls that are going around, the parody ones are absolutely hysterical. Like, someone will be holding up a sweater, and they'll just be like, "This sweater was originally $2,800, but since it has both sleeves, and it was in perfect condition. I was able to get it for $797. And that's like, I mean, I am gonna be on that Upper East Side location at least once a month, checking out like the gorgeous wares from the row. But one of my friends coined it best, and she was like, sometimes you walk into a store and you get TJ Maxx syndrome, where you're just like, do I actually love this? Do I actually want this? Or is this just the best thing I'm seeing here? And
Yes.
that is where sample sales, I think, are such a tricky. I think they should almost be avoided for that reason. Like, unless you have inside information that a piece you want is going to be there. Personally, there's nothing I've ever bought from a sample sale that I didn't feel like was ultimately like because of TJ Maxx syndrome. I'm just like, I
Right.
want to partake in the sacrament of purchasing at this experience. I waited in line to be here. I want to do this. I mean, that's a personal preference, but I just think that TJ Maxx syndrome is real. Remember that, girls.
It absolutely is real. I want to move into some of your, domestic
Yeah.
sides.
Oh, that's like the best part of my life.
Let's talk about where you're at with keeping your married life sexy, hot, and fun.
This is such a like a I wish Wyatt was in here to kind of offer his advice, because like most of the night, like most of the time he'll like come in the room and like you look at each other and there's like that maybe that like thought that washes over both of your eyes of just like, should we have sex? And genuinely 5 to 6 out of 7 days it's just like I wish I wasn't so goddamn tired. Like, I love you. I literally will just like look at him and she'd be like, you are so cute to me. I just wish I had any energy to have sex with you. Like, I love you so much. You're so hot. You're so cute. But like, can we just hold hands tonight? And like,
And
it's
watch a
kind of,
show.
yeah, like, like I like you heard it here first. Watching a show is the new having sex with your partner. So
And
it's something you can do. It's something you can do every night and feel
every
great
night,
about it.
45 minutes to
Feel
an hour.
wanted.
You're not the type where I feel like
I'm not the type to
you're
brag. I'm never gonna brag about my sex. I think anyone who's bragging about their sex life is not the person I wanna sit next to at dinner. I think,
yes.
I'm always going to underplay my sex life, but, like, we have just managed to always make the other person, I think, feel desirable, and then, like, the energy to have sex or not have sex is a very complicated issue when you have 4 children, but I don't
Mhm.
ever feel like the desirability levels between Wyatt and I are, like, ever in a, dry spell.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think too, I think people ask this question because it's pretty normal to feel like your married sex life is pretty standard, humdrum. And so I
Yeah.
think everyone wants to know if that's normal, and I think it's very normal, and it's just
I
about
think
like
it's
figuring out how to like always stay connected. That might not always mean that your sex life is always on fire.
Yeah, and so, like, I've done a lot of on the ground research talking to people about their sex lives and how much they're having sex, and not a single person that I know who's having sex more than 3 times a week is doing it because they are enjoying it and asking for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Like, that is a person who signed up to spend a life with someone with a higher sex drive than them. Not saying that they're unhappy or they're miserable doing it, but it's just, like, there are certain compromises people make in marriage. Sometimes that means they probably have to have sex more than sounds desirable to them. And I just believe that, like, there is no good sex without good connection, especially when you are like, Wyatt and I are business partners in every sense of the word. Like,
Right.
we've done the math, and Wyatt and I have been together essentially 23 hours a day coming up on 17 years. We did the math, and we think we've spent more time together than my own mom and dad. My dad left and
Yeah.
had a job 8 hours a day. We spend almost every minute together laughing, bouncing our ideas off each other. He truly contains half my brain at this point in time. And to me, like, that's intimacy. Like that, like sex is the cherry on top. And I think that that is the foundation for great sex. It's not like the type of sex you have when you like come home from like a date night and you're, a little bit like tipsy. It's not that magic alchemy that's also fun. I think that like the reason our marriage is strong is because we let the hot sex find us and we're not in pursuit of the hot sex all the time.
Yeah. No, I think that's I think that's a great answer. And I think you and Wyatt have also evolved and changed a lot as people. Not a ton, but you've grown into new people, being together for 17 years, and especially, you got married when you were pretty young. And I think you've remained extremely close.
Yeah.
And extremely like in step with each other, which is really something to be proud of.
Yeah, we are like soulmates. Like we just are.
Okay, but the people also want to know, do you ever lose your shit with Wyatt?
Absolutely. I don't think this goes back to my intimacy question. I definitely lose my shit with Wyatt. I will say we don't say cruel things to each other.
Yeah. You never
Like,
get mean.
We never get mean.
Yeah. How often are you losing your shit? Just be a dose of reality.
Weekly?
Yeah.
I think Wyatt is so cool and casual that like sometimes I feel a lot of stress that he doesn't feel, and that will just be like that will bring out the monster inside me. Of just
Totally.
like I like when you're with someone who like has somehow managed to feel like no, I mean he doesn't even feel rushed to go to the airport. Like that will make any woman lose their shit.
Yeah, absolutely. That would send me into a conniption fit. Okay, Courtney, how do you approach jealousy and comparison?
Okay. I can recognize when I am being jealous very quickly. And there's always an opportunity to give into that jealousy and sit with that jealousy and just kind of let that jealousy fester. But my biggest moments of breakthrough in my life, in my career, in almost every thing that I think makes an adult mature and grow and become a better person have come from looking jealousy in the eye, choosing to be happy for the other person, and then translating yourself into their cheerleader. Like if you want to level up as a human being, look jealousy in the eye, look envy in the eye, get ahead of it, become a person who is an active supporter of that person who you might feel that way of, and watch your soul literally level up.
Yeah. I think it's something you truly have to shake off, almost physically a little bit. You have to really shake it off and realize that's not a side of yourself that you want to feed. I love that. You have such a good turn of phrase. Truly.
Oh.
I love you so much. Thank you for coming on the podcast. Thanks for filling in for Lauren. You've been so nice to share your morning with me. Everyone, we'll be back with a Global Elites episode on Friday. We love you. Thank you for listening. Bye.
Love you guys. Bye.
Is this thing on? I'm Caitlin Bristow, host of Off the Vine podcast, where I get real. Well, maybe a little too real sometimes, with my friends and celeb guests from Bachelor franchise and beyond. I'm talking guests like Jonathan Van Ness, Nikki Glazer, Wells Adams, Elise Myers,
just like in this like business jacket, like I would love some tacos.
Heidi D'Amelio, Big Brother's Taylor Hale,
I have to bring it up because it happened and we're going to get through it.
What'd I do?
and so many more. So come hang out with us, hear ridiculous confessions, and get a little vulnerable because you know what? We're all just floating on this weird little planet together. Follow, rate, and review Off the Vine podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts.
This October, Fear is free on Pluto TV with horror movie collections from Paranormal Activity, The Ring,
You will die in 7 days.
Scream, and From Dusk Till Dawn.
This is my kind of place.
And don't miss the man-made nightmares in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein or the world-ending chaos in 28 Days Later.
Something in the blood.
All the scares, all for free. Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.